For those born under the rat sign, 2026 is not a quiet year. It carries movement, pressure, and exposure. Matters that have been sitting unresolved tend to surface, and issues that were once manageable demand direct attention. This year does not tolerate avoidance. It responds only to awareness and correct response. You may notice early signs that life feels faster and less forgiving. Conversations escalate quickly. Deadlines feel tighter. People around you may seem impatient or emotionally reactive. This is not imagination. The cycle itself accelerates events, and rats feel it strongly because you are mentally alert and sensitive to shifts in your environment. This year is not trying to defeat you, it is trying to stop you from staying too long in situations that are already unstable. If something in your life is built on weak agreements, emotional imbalance, or unspoken resentment, pressure will increase until correction happens. Your strength lies in perception. You see problems before they fully form. You sense tension before others admit it exists. Used correctly, this allows you to exit early, reposition quietly, and avoid unnecessary damage. Used incorrectly, it becomes overthinking, anxiety, and constant mental strain. The biggest danger for rats in 2026 is mental and nervous exhaustion. Health issues this year rarely appear suddenly. They accumulate slowly when warning signs are ignored. The most common areas of concern for rats in this cycle are sleep disruption, chronic fatigue, anxiety, chest tightness, irregular heartbeat sensations, headaches, and pressure in the head. Many rats also experience digestive sensitivity caused by prolonged stress rather than diet. Another key area to watch is the kidney lower back adrenal system. When rats are under prolonged stress, this system weakens first. Signs include persistent tiredness even after rest, lower back discomfort, frequent urination, cold sensitivity, or feeling depleted after emotional situations. These are not minor issues this year. They are early alerts. If you push through exhaustion, the body will eventually force a stop. Rest is not optional in 2026. It is protection. Regulating sleep, reducing mental stimulation, and stepping away from draining environments are not luxuries. They are necessities. Legal and contractual matters also deserve serious attention. If you are dealing with business agreements, employment contracts, property issues, loans, investments, or legal documents, slow down. Read carefully, ask questions. Do not sign anything under pressure. Do not rely on verbal assurances. Weak agreements are exposed in this cycle, and unresolved paperwork becomes a source of stress if ignored. Conflicts escalate quickly in 2026. Arguments harden instead of resolving. If you feel provoked, step back. Walking away is not weakness this year. It is intelligence. Trying to win arguments drains energy and invites unnecessary complications. Now let us speak about wealth. This is not a year of reckless expansion, but it is not a year of collapse either. Money moves, but unevenly. Gains come through planning, adaptability, and timing rather than force. Sudden opportunities may appear, but they must be examined carefully. There is an important lesson for rats around money in this cycle. Wealth that is held too tightly for too long begins to stagnate. When money is meant to be shared, invested, or used meaningfully, hoarding it out of fear creates inner tension. Circulation restores balance. This does not mean being careless. It means allowing resources to move where they are needed instead of freezing them out of anxiety. Now, regarding spiritual protection and guidance, this year favors Thai guardian energies that emphasize restraint, grounding, and authority without aggression. For rats in 2026, Tao Weswan is especially suitable. He governs protection against conflict, injustice, and unseen interference. His energy helps stabilize chaotic situations, protect against legal or social disputes, and reinforce boundaries. Tao Weswan is appropriate when life feels pressured from the outside. Another highly suitable presence is for Rahu, but only in a grounding and disciplined way. Rahu governs sudden change, disruption, and hidden forces. For rats, Rahu helps transform fear into awareness and chaos into strategy. However, Rahu should be approached with respect and moderation, not intensity. The purpose is clarity, not power. For emotional stability and inner calm, Prame Torani is beneficial. She governs grounding, patience, and balance. Her energy helps rats release accumulated stress, stabilize emotions, and prevent overthinking from turning into anxiety. If you use physical support such as amulets or sacred objects, grounding ones are best. Avoid symbols that amplify aggression, urgency, or excess stimulation. This year already carries enough pressure. Let me close clearly. This year does not reward stubbornness. It rewards awareness. It does not reward speed. It rewards timing. It does not reward endurance for its own sake. It rewards intelligent movement and timely release. If you listen to your body early, manage stress honestly, read agreements carefully, allow wealth to circulate wisely, and stay grounded in one clear protective focus, you will exit 2026 mentally stronger, emotionally clearer, and more balanced than before. The rat survives not by force, but by knowing when to move, when to wait, and when to let go without regret. That is how you move through this year safely and wisely. Now let us speak plainly about money, because wealth behaves very differently for rats in 2026, depending on birth year. This is where many people misread the year and make avoidable mistakes. For rats born in 1984, money pressure comes from over-control. You are capable of earning and managing well, but in 2026, you tend to hold too tightly. You may delay spending, delay investing, or delay paying what needs to be paid because you want certainty first. The negative side of this is stagnation. When money does not move, opportunities close quietly. The solution is intentional circulation. Pay what is due on time. Invest only in what you understand. Share where it is appropriate. Movement restores flow for you this year. For rats born in 1972, wealth issues come from carrying other people's burdens. You may be supporting family, covering gaps, or holding responsibilities that were never meant to be permanent. The positive side is stability. You can maintain income even in pressure years. The negative side is depletion. Money leaks slowly, not through loss, but through obligation. The solution is boundaries. Stop rescuing situations that do not change. Redirect resources toward long-term security, not endless support. For rats born in 1996, money risk comes from impatience. You may feel behind or pressured to accelerate financially. This creates temptation toward quick gains, risky moves, or sudden career changes driven by discomfort rather than readiness. The positive side is opportunity. New income paths do open for you. The negative side is regret from moving too fast. The solution is pacing. If an opportunity feels urgent, pause. If it survives delay, it may be real. If it disappears, it was never stable. For rats born in 1960, wealth is not about growth, but preservation. You can remain financially stable in 2026 if you avoid unnecessary strain. The risk is overextending resources for others or taking on stress that costs you health. Medical or recovery expenses rise when energy is ignored. The solution is simplification. Reduce financial complexity. Choose predictability over expansion. For all other rat birth years, the pattern is consistent. Income may fluctuate, but collapse is unlikely unless decisions are emotional. The danger is fear-based hoarding. Holding money too tightly creates internal tension and attracts stress. The solution is balance. Save responsibly. Spend consciously and allow money to move where it has purpose. Circulation does not mean waste. It means trust guided by intelligence. Understand this clearly. In 2026, money responds to clarity, not anxiety. Those who manage with awareness feel supported. Those who cling out of fear feel pressure increase. Wealth this year is not about accumulation alone, it is about alignment. When money serves life properly, life supports money in return. One last thing before we end. What you have heard here is guidance at the sign level. It helps you understand the direction of the year. But real stability comes when guidance is aligned to your own birth elements, not just your animal sign. Each person carries a different internal balance. Some need grounding, some need protection, some need clarity, some need circulation. When support is aligned correctly to your elemental makeup, pressure softens and decisions become clearer. If you feel this year carries weight for you, you may want something more precise. Check the link in description. We've prepared personalized tools designed to align with individual birth elements, offering more accurate spiritual support and stabilization for 2026. These are not generic solutions. They are meant to support your energy specifically, so you are not carrying the year alone. Use what brings clarity, leave what doesn't resonate. Preparation, not fear, is what makes this year manageable. Take care of your body, be clear with money, protect your energy, and remember, when support matches who you are, the year becomes lighter. For those born under the ox sign, 2026 begins with an important truth that must be stated clearly. This is a year where your core strengths still work. Your steadiness, reliability, and ability to endure give you a real advantage, while others become reactive or scattered. When situations feel unstable, the ox is often the one holding structure together. In 2026, this makes you valuable. People rely on you. Work continues to come your way. You are capable of maintaining stability when others struggle. If approached correctly, this can be a year where you preserve ground and even strengthen your position quietly. However, this same strength becomes a problem when it turns into silent overloading. The ox suffers more than many other signs when pressure builds slowly. You do not complain easily. You tend to endure first and adjust last. In 2026, this pattern creates strain, especially in relationships, health, and emotional balance. This is not fate. It is a spiritual lesson. The ox often gives through responsibility rather than expression. You support through action, but when appreciation feels missing, sensitivity builds quietly. You may withdraw emotionally, become guarded, or stop giving warmth without realizing it. Over time, this creates distance. In 2026, this pattern becomes more visible. If you become too sensitive, too reserved, or too closed, support fades unconsciously. Not because people want to leave, but because they no longer feel connected. Many ox lose relationships that were actually meant to support and strengthen them, simply because they stopped giving emotionally when they felt unappreciated. This year asks you to go slightly beyond comfort in relationships, not to overgive, but to stay open. Do not hoard emotional energy. Express appreciation, show warmth, share concern. These actions preserve support. When you close off emotionally, you may feel protected, but you also lose connection. Health is where the warning shows first if you do not adjust. For ox in 2026, stress settles into the body. Joint pain, especially in the knees, stiffness in the lower back, neck and shoulder tension, digestive discomfort, and persistent fatigue are not random. They are signs of overload. Sleep may feel shallow even when you are exhausted, and recovery may take longer than usual. If ignored, small physical issues linger. If respected early, balance returns. This year does not reward pushing through pain. It rewards pacing and redistribution of effort. Now let us speak directly about wealth, because the same pattern applies. In 2026, wealth for the ox does not expand through tightening alone. Stability can be maintained, but growth comes only when resources are allowed to move. The ox often protects money the same way it protects emotions, by holding tightly. This year, that instinct creates stagnation. This does not mean being careless. It means understanding that circulation creates momentum. Giving appropriately, investing wisely, supporting what truly matters, these actions open paths. When money is held only out of fear, pressure increases. When money is allowed to move with judgment, support returns. Those who remain overly cautious, delaying contribution even when it is right, often feel blocked. Those who allow generosity to flow intelligently find help appearing from unexpected directions. Now let us bring this guidance into clearer focus by looking at different ox birth years, because the pressure does not land in the same place for everyone. For ox born in 1985, the main challenge in 2026 is stress-related depletion. You are productive and capable of earning, but you tend to carry work pressure directly into your body. Neck tension, digestive problems, and persistent tiredness are common if limits are ignored. Financially, income can remain stable, but growth slows when you hold back out of caution. The correction is balance. Protect health first, and allow money to circulate where it creates momentum rather than freezing everything down. For ox born in 1973, health pressure settles in the joints, lower back, and circulation. Long hours and emotional responsibility weigh on the body. Wealth drains quietly through obligation rather than loss. You may be supporting others longer than necessary. The correction is review. Reduce unnecessary commitments and redirect resources toward long-term stability. For ox born in 1997, health deserves special attention. Stress tends to move upward in your system. Headaches, head pressure, sleep disruption, anxiety, and irregular appetite are common signs this year. These are not emotional weaknesses. They are physical signals of mental overload. If ignored, burnout comes quickly. Financially, impatience is the risk. You may feel behind and tempted to force progress. The correction is pacing. Stabilize your health first. Clear thinking follows physical regulation. For ox born in 1961 or earlier, energy conservation is critical. Recovery is slower when routine is ignored. Fatigue and lowered resilience appear quietly. Financially, preservation works better than expansion. Avoid complexity. Predictability protects both health and wealth. For all other ox birth years, the pattern is shared. Health suffers when you carry emotional and practical weight without release. Wealth stagnates when fear tightens control. Adjustment restores balance. Spiritual strengthening is important this year, especially energies that support authority without aggression and openness without vulnerability becoming weakness. For masculine energy, guidance associated with long-term vision, structure, and clear judgment supports the ox well in 2026. This energy helps you manage responsibility without becoming rigid or isolated. For feminine energy, guidance associated with attraction, warmth, and flow is especially helpful. It softens emotional reserve, supports relationship harmony, and encourages circulation of both energy and resources. These influences support the ox in learning that strength does not come from holding everything alone. As the year progresses, remember this clearly. The ox does not suffer because it is weak. The ox suffers when it closes itself off too tightly. Do not hoard energy, emotional or material. Do not retreat in silence when you feel unappreciated. Do not mistake sensitivity for wisdom. When you stay open, support remains. When you allow flow, stability follows. And finally, remember that what you hear here is guidance at the sign level. True balance comes when support aligns with your own birth elements. Each person carries a different internal structure, and guidance works best when it matches that design. If you want more precise spiritual and energetic support for 2026, check the link in the description. We've prepared personalized tools aligned to individual birth elements designed to help stabilize health, wealth, and relationships through the year. The ox moves through 2026, not by carrying more, but by allowing connection and circulation to share the weight. For those born under the Tiger sign, 2026 begins with an advantage that must be acknowledged clearly. This is a year where your natural power is activated, momentum works in your favor, courage rises easily, decisiveness comes naturally. While others hesitate or wait for certainty, the Tiger feels ready to move. This year supports visibility. People notice you more. Your words carry weight. Opportunities tend to appear when you step forward rather than when you wait. Leadership, expansion, and personal breakthroughs are possible in 2026, especially when your actions are intentional rather than reactive. If used correctly, this is a year where the Tiger can advance faster than expected. However, this same energy becomes dangerous when it is uncontrolled. The Tiger's challenge in 2026 is not lack of strength, it is too much strength without regulation. When energy is high, the Tiger may rush ahead without checking consequences. Confidence turns into assumption, drive turns into pressure, speed replaces clarity. This year rewards Tigers who act with awareness. It punishes Tigers who believe power alone is enough. Relationships are one of the most important lessons for the Tiger in 2026. Tigers are naturally intense. You are direct, expressive, and emotionally strong. When this energy is balanced, it creates loyalty, passion, and protection. When it is unchecked, it creates conflict. In 2026, emotional reactions are amplified. Words spoken quickly carry long consequences. If you push people too hard, insist on your way, or dominate emotionally, you may weaken relationships that were actually meant to support you. This is not destiny, it is cause and effect. The guidance here is simple but crucial. Slow down just enough to listen. Do not assume others can always keep up with your pace or intensity. Strength does not require dominance. When Tigers choose connection over control, support deepens. When Tigers insist on being right instead of being connected, support fades. Health warnings for Tigers in 2026 revolve around overheating and exhaustion. Stress moves fast through your system. Headaches, jaw tension, neck and shoulder tightness, muscle strain, blood pressure fluctuations, and sleep disruption are common when you push too hard. Accidents and injuries also increase when impatience overrides caution. Your body gives signals early. The danger is ignoring them. In 2026, ignoring early signs leads to forced pauses later. Rest, hydration, pacing, and recovery are not optional. They are how you protect performance. Now let us speak clearly about wealth. 2026 can be a strong money year for Tigers, but only when discipline matches ambition. Opportunities for growth, new income streams, or expansion do appear. However, money gained quickly can also be lost quickly if decisions are rushed or driven by ego. The positive side is momentum. Tigers who negotiate confidently, act decisively, and take calculated risks can move ahead financially. The negative side is impulsive spending, overinvestment, or chasing status instead of stability. When money is used to prove power, pressure follows. When money is used to build structure, growth lasts. This year rewards Tigers who plan before acting and reinvest wisely. It punishes tigers who treat money as fuel for ego. Now, let us bring this into sharper focus by looking at different tiger birth years, because the pressure and opportunity do not land in the same place for everyone. For tigers born in 1986, ambition is strong, but burnout is the main risk. You are capable of earning more, but you may push beyond healthy limits. Headaches, sleep disruption, irritability, and constant mental tension are warning signs. Financially, growth is possible, but spending too fast or trying to prove success outwardly weakens stability. The correction is moderation. For masculine energy, four-faced Buddha supports clarity, long-term vision, and balanced decision-making, so ambition does not turn chaotic. For feminine energy, Goddess Saraswati supports calm thinking, wise speech, and emotional regulation. Crystals that support you well are tiger's eye to ground confidence and amethyst to calm overactive thinking. For tigers born in 1974, leadership pressure is heavy. You may be responsible for people, systems, or outcomes beyond yourself. Health issues often appear as blood pressure strain, chronic muscle tension, or fatigue from constant responsibility. Financially, income can remain stable, but money leaks through obligation to others. The correction is boundaries. For masculine energy, Tao Wasuwan offers strong protection against conflict, injustice, and power struggles. For feminine energy, Goddess Torani provides grounding, patience, and emotional stability. Smoky quartz helps absorb stress, while hematite stabilizes energy and prevents exhaustion. For tigers born in 1998, impatience is the biggest danger. You may feel pressure to prove yourself quickly. Health issues often show up as anxiety, sleep disruption, digestive sensitivity, or sudden energy crashes. These are signals to slow down, not push harder. Financially, rushing into opportunities creates instability. The correction is pacing. For masculine energy, Prakunpen, in a balanced and disciplined form, supports confidence without recklessness. For feminine energy, Goddess Nangquak helps attract supportive opportunities and smooth connections, so you do not need to force outcomes. Citrine supports steady motivation, while blue lace agate calms nerves and improves communication. For tigers born in 1962 or earlier, conservation becomes essential. Recovery slows when intensity remains high. Joint strain, muscle fatigue, and lowered resilience are signs to reduce pace. Financially, preservation works better than expansion. Avoid complexity. For masculine energy, Luang Pu Tuat offers protection, grounding, and endurance, especially during travel or physically demanding periods. For feminine energy, the Goddess of Mercy supports compassion, emotional balance, and gentle strength, helping you release pressure rather than carry everything alone. Jade supports longevity and balance, while rose quartz softens emotional tension and protects relationships. For all other tiger birth years, the pattern is consistent. Power increases, but so does responsibility. Health suffers when intensity is unchecked. Wealth grows when ambition is guided by discipline. As the year unfolds, remember this clearly. The tiger does not struggle in 2026 because it lacks power. The tiger struggles only when power lacks restraint. Do not rush when clarity is missing. Do not push people simply because you can. Do not sacrifice health for momentum. When you move with awareness, support stays. When strength is balanced with patience, progress lasts. And finally, remember that this guidance speaks at the sign level. True alignment comes when support matches your own birth elements. Each tiger carries a different internal balance, and guidance works best when it is precise. If you want more accurate, energetic, and spiritual support for 2026, check the link in the description. We've prepared personalized tools aligned to individual birth elements, designed to regulate intensity, stabilize health, protect relationships, and guide financial decisions with greater clarity. The tiger moves through 2026 not by roaring louder, but by knowing exactly when to act and when to pause. For those born under the rabbit sign, 2026 begins quietly, and this must be understood correctly. Quiet does not mean weak. It means the year is not asking you to fight, rush, or prove anything. This is a year that supports maintenance, refinement, and inner strengthening rather than outward pressure. While other signs feel pushed to act, the rabbit is guided to slow down just enough to stay balanced. When you respect this rhythm, life remains stable. When you resist it and try to force outcomes, stress appears unnecessarily. Overall, wealth for rabbits in 2026 is stable. Money does not fluctuate dramatically unless you make it fluctuate. Income tends to hold. This is not a year of sudden loss, nor is it a year that demands aggressive expansion. When you manage calmly and avoid unnecessary risk, finances remain balanced. Health, in general, is not a major concern for rabbits this year. There are no strong indicators of serious physical strain as long as basic care is maintained. In fact, 2026 is a good year to quietly strengthen the body, supporting digestion, immunity, sleep quality, and nervous balance through gentle supplements, regular meals, and steady routines helps build long-term resilience. This is a year of prevention rather than repair. Small habits done consistently matter more than intense effort. The deeper lesson of 2026 for the rabbit is discernment. Because you are naturally kind, accommodating, and emotionally aware, others may approach you more often this year. Some come with genuine connection. Others come because they sense your stability and hope to benefit from it. This can appear as peers asking for favors, emotional support, or loans. Be alert here. Not everyone who comes to you does so to strengthen you. Some come to draw from your calm. If you give without clarity, resentment builds later. This is not a year to be naive, but it is also not a year to be closed. It is a year to be discerning without guilt. Before lending money, pause. Before agreeing to help, consider whether it is mutual. Before carrying emotional responsibility, ask whether it is shared or quietly transferred to you. This year rewards rabbits who say no gently and without explanation. Emotionally, this is an inward year. You may feel less inclined to socialize aggressively or chase stimulation. That is healthy. Use this time to rest, reflect, study, and build inner strength. Quiet spiritual practice and self-care are especially supportive. This is also a good year to build merit. Acts of kindness done quietly, caring for health, and supporting others appropriately all contribute to long-term balance. What you build internally now supports you later. Now, let us look more closely at different rabbit birth years, because while the overall tone of the year is the same, the form of support that helps you most differs. For rabbits born in 1987, mental and emotional sensitivity is the main theme. You may overthink situations that are actually stable. Health is generally fine, but stress can affect digestion and sleep if you internalize too much. Wealth remains steady, but hesitation can delay opportunities. For spiritual support, Prabhupada is especially suitable. His energy supports protection through stillness, patience, and unseen support, helping you stay calm while things settle naturally. A takrut, or sacred scroll, focused on gentle attraction rather than force, also supports stable income flow without pressure. For rabbits born in 1975, responsibility toward others weighs more heavily. Health issues show as fatigue or lowered immunity when stress is carried silently. Financially, money tends to leak through obligation rather than loss. The support that helps most here is pra-lerzi saming prai, energy focused on boundary protection, not aggression, but preventing others from over-leaning on you. A taproot worn for resilience helps you hold your ground without hardening emotionally. For rabbits born in 1999, emotional sensitivity is heightened. Health is not fragile, but stress shows quickly through appetite changes, nervous tension, or sleep irregularity. Wealth is stable, but indecision can slow progress. For you, guidance connected to goddess Posop, or also known as the rice goddess, is beneficial. Her energy supports nourishment, grounding, and feeling safe enough to make decisions without anxiety. A simple grounding talisman or earth-based takrut supports routine and emotional stability. For rabbits born in 1963 or earlier, energy conservation becomes important. Health remains stable when routine is respected, but fatigue appears when schedules are disrupted. Financially, preservation works better than expansion. The spiritual support that aligns well here is Prasivali's wandering ascetic energy, focused not on wealth chasing but on having enough wherever you are. A protective, travel-oriented takrut supports peace of mind and gentle continuity. For all other rabbit birth years, the pattern remains the same. This is not a demanding year. It becomes demanding only when you overextend emotionally, give without clarity, or ignore your need for quiet strengthening. Support that emphasizes grounding, nourishment, and protection without stimulation works best. This is not a year to be aggressive. It is not a year to prove anything. It is a year to be steady, aware, and selective. When you stay calm, wealth remains balanced. When you strengthen health early, nothing escalates. When you are discerning with people, support remains intact. And finally, remember that this guidance speaks at the sign level. True stability deepens when support aligns with your own birth elements. Each rabbit carries a different internal makeup, and the right kind of spiritual or energetic support makes the year lighter and clearer. If you want more precise guidance, aligned to your personal birth elements and inner balance, check the link in the description. We've prepared personalized tools designed to support health, maintain stable wealth, strengthen discernment, and help you build merit steadily through 2026. The rabbit moves through this year not by pushing outward, but by growing quietly stronger within. Nothing in 2026 is inherently threatening to you. In fact, when you stay within your natural rhythm, life feels steady and predictable in a good way. The only real caution is not external danger, but energetic drainage. Because you are naturally kind, gentle, and emotionally safe to be around, some people may lean on you more than they should. They may not intend harm. Many simply seek comfort, reassurance, or relief from their own instability. But if you give continuously without pause, you may feel quietly depleted. Remember this clearly. Protecting your energy does not make you cold. Saying no does not make you unkind. Choosing rest over obligation does not make you selfish. In 2026, these choices are forms of wisdom. You are not meant to fix others this year. You are meant to remain well. When you choose yourself gently, when you help only where it feels right, and when you allow calm to be enough, the year supports you fully. There is no rush, there is no pressure. Stay soft but discerning, stay kind but grounded. That is how the rabbit moves through 2026 peacefully, safely, and with quiet strength. For those born under the dragon sign, 2026 begins with something that cannot be ignored: visibility. This is a year where your presence is amplified. Whether you intend it or not, people notice you more. Your words carry weight. Your decisions influence outcomes. Opportunities come not because you chase them, but because others see you as capable of shaping direction. This is a year where dragons can naturally step into authority. Leadership roles, recognition, and influence are available, especially when you act with clarity rather than impulse. You are not meant to stay small in 2026. You are meant to be seen, but in a controlled and intentional way. Your natural confidence works in your favor. You are able to inspire others, initiate movement, and push projects forward when others hesitate. If you have been preparing quietly, this is the year where momentum finally responds. There is real strength here, and it is genuine. However, this same visibility is also where the dragon must be careful. The challenge of 2026 is not lack of power, it is too much exposure without containment. When attention increases, pressure increases with it. Expectations rise. People ask more from you. If you say yes too easily, commit too widely, or feel obligated to perform constantly, strain appears quickly. This year does not reward constant display. It rewards measured authority. You do not need to prove yourself repeatedly. You do not need to respond to every request. When dragons mistake visibility for obligation, exhaustion follows. When dragons learn to pace their presence, success stabilizes. Relationships play a quiet but critical role this year. Dragons are naturally strong personalities. You can dominate a space without intending to. In 2026, this can either attract loyal allies or quietly push people away, depending on how you carry yourself. If you become impatient, dismissive, or emotionally unavailable, relationships that could have strengthened you may weaken silently. This is not betrayal, it is erosion through neglect. Support does not disappear suddenly, it fades when connection is not maintained. This year asks you to stay relationally present, share credit, acknowledge effort, listen when you do not need to speak. These small actions protect alliances and prevent isolation at the top. Health in 2026 requires attention to stress, circulation, and recovery. Dragons tend to push hardest when things are going well, not when they are difficult. This is where imbalance appears. Head pressure, blood pressure, fluctuations, jaw tension, and sleep disruption are early signs of overload. This is not a fragile year for health, but it becomes demanding if you ignore rest. Recovery time matters more than usual. If sleep becomes irregular or the body feels constantly wired, it is a sign that intensity has exceeded capacity. Rest is not loss of momentum this year. Rest is what allows momentum to last. Now let us speak clearly about wealth, because this is an important area for dragons in 2026. This year offers strong earning potential, but money behaves unevenly. Gains can be substantial, but so can expenses if decisions are rushed or driven by image. This is not a year to gamble emotionally, speculate blindly, or spend to maintain status. Money responds best to structure in 2026. When you plan carefully, reinvest wisely, and pace expansion, wealth grows steadily. When you chase growth for recognition, pressure builds. This is a year where consolidation creates more power than rapid expansion. There is also a deeper lesson for dragons around generosity. When you share resources wisely, mentor others, or contribute where value is real, support multiplies. When you hoard out of fear or control, stagnation appears. Flow creates leverage for you this year, but only when guided by judgment. Now let us bring this guidance into sharper focus by looking at different dragon birth years, because while visibility is shared, the pressure point differs. For dragons born in 1988, ambition and opportunity rise sharply. You may be asked to lead, expand, or take on visibility sooner than expected. Health warnings show as mental exhaustion, sleep disruption, or pressure headaches when you overcommit. Wealth can grow strongly, but only if you resist chasing too many paths at once. Spiritual alignment connected to prana rai supports balance, preservation, and correct timing when power increases. A stabilizing takrut focused on harmony across work, money, and responsibility helps prevent fragmentation. For dragons born in 1976, authority weighs heavier. You may be managing people, systems, or family expectations simultaneously. Health issues appear as blood pressure, stress, chest tightness, or fatigue from carrying others. Financially, income remains solid, but money leaks through obligation rather than loss. Guidance aligned with Indra strengthens leadership with fairness and restraint, helping you hold authority without being drained. Protective talismans that reinforce moral authority rather than attraction are especially supportive. For dragons born in 2000, pressure comes from self-expectation. You may feel the need to prove capability quickly. Health signals include anxiety, digestive sensitivity, or sleep irregularity when stress is internalized. Financially, growth is possible, but impatience creates mistakes. The correction is structure. Alignment with Goddess Lakshmi supports healthy confidence and a balanced relationship with abundance. Grounding supports that emphasize stability over attraction help regulate emotions. For dragons born in 1964 or earlier, energy conservation becomes essential. You still carry presence and authority, but recovery slows when intensity stays high. Health remains stable when routine is respected. Financially, preservation works better than expansion. Guidance connected to Goddess Umadevi offers strength with protection, especially during transitions. Protective takrut focused on safeguarding rather than growth supports peace of mind. For all other dragon birth years, the pattern is similar. Visibility increases, and with it responsibility. Health remains stable when pacing is respected. Wealth grows when ambition is guided by discipline rather than urgency. Spiritually, dragons in 2026 benefit from support that grounds power instead of amplifying it. This is not a year for aggressive symbols or excessive stimulation. It is a year for protection, clarity, and restraint. Power that is contained becomes authority. Power that is uncontrolled becomes burden. As the year unfolds, remember this clearly. The dragon does not struggle because it lacks strength. The dragon struggles only when strength is not contained. Do not overpromise. Do not perform constantly. Do not confuse visibility with obligation. When you pace yourself, support remains. When you share power wisely, alliances strengthen. When you rest strategically, success lasts. And finally, remember that this guidance speaks at the sign level. True stability comes when support aligns with your own birth elements. Each dragon carries a different internal balance, and the right support makes visibility empowering rather than draining. If you want more precise, energetic, and spiritual support for 2026, check the link in the description. We've prepared personalized tools aligned to individual birth elements, designed to stabilize health, guide wealth decisions, protect relationships, and help you carry power without strain. The dragon moves through 2026 not by shining brighter, but by knowing exactly how much fire to show and when to let it rest. For those born under the snake sign, 2026 begins with clarity. This is a year where your natural intelligence, perception, and restraint work strongly in your favor. While others react emotionally or rush into decisions, you see patterns, sense timing, and understand what is not being said. You are not meant to move loudly in 2026. You are meant to move precisely. This is a year that rewards insight over speed, preparation over display, and silence over noise. When you trust your instincts and allow situations to unfold before acting, opportunities align naturally. Many snakes find that doors open quietly, without struggle, simply because they waited when others rushed. Your strength this year lies in discretion. You know when to observe, when to withdraw, and when to act decisively. This makes 2026 a year where the snake can gain advantage without confrontation and progress without unnecessary exposure. However, this same strength becomes the snake's main risk if it turns into excessive secrecy or isolation. The challenge for snakes in 2026 is withholding too much. When you remain silent for too long, others misread your intentions. When you retreat too deeply, support weakens. This year does not punish intelligence, but it does punish emotional withdrawal that disconnects you from people who would otherwise stand with you. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone, but you do need to remain relationally present with the right people. Silence should be strategic, not defensive. Relationships require balance this year. Snakes are naturally private, selective, and guarded. This usually protects you, but in 2026, emotional distance can create confusion. People may feel unsure where they stand with you, even when they mean well. If tension appears, the solution is not deeper withdrawal, it is calm communication. A few well-chosen words preserve bonds far better than silence. When snakes remain emotionally accessible without overexposing themselves, relationships stabilize and quietly strengthen. Health in 2026 is generally stable for snakes, but it becomes sensitive when stress is suppressed. Your body stores tension quietly. Digestive discomfort, stomach sensitivity, hormonal imbalance, skin flare-ups, jaw tension, and irregular sleep are common signals when pressure is internalized instead of released. This is not a year of dramatic illness. It is a year where internal pressure shows subtly. Gentle detoxification, consistent meals, adequate hydration, and regular sleep routines keep the body balanced. Avoid extremes. Moderation protects you. Now let us speak clearly about wealth. For snakes, 2026 is a year of strategic financial advantage. Money does not come through force or visibility. It comes through timing, insight, and selective action. You may see opportunities others miss simply because you waited long enough to understand them. Overall, wealth is stable with quiet, upside potential. Growth happens gradually and discreetly. The danger lies in hesitation caused by overanalysis. If you wait endlessly for perfect certainty, opportunities pass. This year rewards snakes who act once clarity is sufficient, not perfect. Calculated movement outperforms inactivity. At the same time, impulsive risk is unnecessary. You do not need to gamble, you need to choose selectively. Another important lesson around wealth is circulation. Holding resources too tightly out of control or secrecy creates stagnation. Strategic sharing, reinvestment, and contribution increase leverage. When money flows intelligently, influence grows. Now let us look more closely at different snake birth years, because while the overall energy favors intelligence, the pressure point differs. For snakes born in 1989, mental intensity is high. You notice everything and think deeply. Health warnings show as digestive sensitivity, sleep disruption, or tension headaches when thoughts are not released. Financially, opportunities appear through insight, but hesitation delays action. The correction is decisiveness paired with grounding. For snakes born in 1977, responsibility and authority weigh more heavily. Health issues show as hormonal imbalance, fatigue, or suppressed stress. Wealth remains stable, but money leaks quietly through obligation to others. Boundaries are essential this year. For snakes born in 2001, pressure comes from self-expectation and internal comparison. Health signals include anxiety, appetite irregularity, and sleep inconsistency. Financial growth is possible, but uncertainty causes delay. Structure and routine restore confidence. For snakes born in 1965 or earlier, conservation becomes essential. Health remains stable when routine is respected, but recovery slows if stress is ignored. Financially, preservation and simplification work better than expansion. For all other snake birth years, the pattern is consistent. Intelligence brings advantage. Health remains stable when stress is expressed rather than stored. Wealth grows when insight is followed by timely action. Now let us speak about spiritual strengthening and guidance, because this is where snakes gain quiet protection in 2026. This year favors earth-based, grounding energies rather than anything stimulating or aggressive. Support that anchors you prevents overthinking from turning into stagnation. Energy associated with Sivali is especially supportive. Sivali represents continuity, provision, and always having enough wherever you are. This aligns perfectly with the snake's strategic movement. Sivali energy supports steady income, safe transitions, and calm assurance without pressure. It works best when you move patiently rather than forcefully. Rahu, when approached in a disciplined and grounded way, also supports snakes strongly in 2026. Rahu governs hidden forces and timing. For snakes, Rahu sharpens awareness and reveals what lies beneath the surface. This helps you avoid traps, read intentions clearly, and navigate complex or unclear situations without confrontation. Guidance connected to Lursi energy is highly aligned this year. Lursi represents wisdom gained through restraint, solitude, and inner discipline. This strengthens intuition, regulates emotion, and protects against mental exhaustion caused by overanalysis. Lursi guidance encourages clarity without noise and confidence without display. Takrut focused on grounding and protection are more suitable than attraction-based ones this year. Earth element Takrut, associated with stability, safe passage, and continuity, help anchor your energy and prevent internal pressure from building silently. These supports work quietly, reinforcing balance rather than amplifying intensity. Color also matters more than most people realize for snakes in 2026. The most supportive and lucky color for snakes this year is earthy brown, followed closely by muted gold and deep olive tones. These colors resonate with grounding, patience, and accumulation rather than speed or display. Brown stabilizes the nervous system, reduces mental noise, and reinforces calm confidence. It supports health by grounding scattered energy and supports wealth by encouraging steady, well-timed movement rather than impulsive action. Avoid overly bright or sharp colors during important decisions or high-pressure situations. Those amplify restlessness. Earth tones keep you centered, observant, and protected. As the year unfolds, remember this clearly. The snake does not struggle because it lacks power. The snake struggles only when it hides too deeply or waits too long. Do not withdraw completely. Do not overthink until action disappears. Do not isolate when connection would protect you. When you speak selectively, trust remains. When you act with timing, wealth follows. When you ground early, health stays balanced. And finally, remember that this guidance speaks at the sign level. True stability comes when support aligns with your own birth elements. Each snake carries a different internal balance, and the right alignment turns insight into advantage. If you want more precise energetic and spiritual support for 2026, check the link in the description. We've prepared personalized tools aligned to individual birth elements, designed to stabilize health, guide financial timing, protect relationships, and strengthen inner clarity throughout the year. The snake moves through 2026 not by striking often, but by knowing exactly when the moment is right and being ready when it arrives. For those born under the horse sign, 2026 is often misunderstood before it is even lived. Many people hear phrases like same year, or what is commonly called a clash year, and immediately associate it with misfortune, danger, or loss. That interpretation is inaccurate and unnecessarily frightening. A far more accurate and healthier way to understand 2026 for the horse is to call it a reflection year. A reflection year does not mean conflict. It does not mean deterioration. It does not mean punishment. It simply means this: the year carries the same animal sign as the one you were born under, and you have reached the completion of a 12-year cycle. Life turns a mirror toward you not to judge, but to show clearly. Life does not move in straight lines, it moves in cycles. Every 12 years, you return to the same energetic position where a long journey began. When that happens, awareness naturally increases, patterns become visible, direction becomes clearer. What has been cultivated quietly now shows itself. A reflection year does not create new karma. It reveals accumulated momentum. This is why people experience reflection years very differently. If, over the last 12 years, you have been outward giving, supportive, patient, compassionate, and sincere, then a reflection year often feels supportive and confirming. Things align, help appears at the right time, opportunities arrive without struggle. Life seems cooperative. If, however, the last cycle has been driven by avoidance, resentment, impatience, or unconscious repetition, then the reflection year brings lessons, not as punishment, but as reminders, not to harm, but to mature awareness and refine direction. This is why many people mistakenly label reflection years as bad. It is not the year that is harsh. It is the mirror that feels uncomfortable. The divine does not seek to cause harm, it seeks to uplift, correct gently, and purify direction. A reflection year increases awareness, so growth does not remain delayed. When awareness is welcomed, the year becomes protective. When it is resisted, the year feels heavy. For the horse, this distinction is especially important. The horse is naturally forward-moving, energetic, and driven. You push ahead, you carry momentum. In a reflection year, that momentum meets itself. This creates a moment of integration rather than collision. This year is not about stopping. It is about listening and integrating. Health is one of the most misunderstood areas during a reflection year. Health issues do not appear because the year is attacking the body. They appear because your awareness of the body is heightened. Subtle fatigue, inflammation, tension, sleep disruption, or stress patterns that may have been present for years now come into consciousness. It is not that you are suddenly becoming sick. It is that you are finally noticing. This is protective, not dangerous. A reflection year works like a caring mother. She watches more closely, not to frighten the child, but to remind rest before collapse, to correct posture before injury, to point out tiredness before exhaustion sets in. Awareness arrives early, so harm does not have to. So if your body speaks more clearly in 2026, listen calmly. Nothing is wrong. Something is being revealed so it can be cared for. Wealth is another area where misunderstanding causes unnecessary fear. Wealth does not disappear in a reflection year. Opportunities still exist, sometimes very significant ones. The difference is that money now responds to alignment rather than force. Fast gains driven by ego, impatience, or pressure tend to slip away. Wealth connected to contribution, sincerity, and real value tends to stay. If you have been generous, fair, and supportive over the last 12 years, financial doors often open naturally. If you have been overly aggressive or dismissive of others, financial lessons may appear, not as loss, but as refinement, teaching patience, responsibility, and wiser use of power. Nothing is taken away arbitrarily. Relationships are especially honest in a reflection year. Bonds that are genuine deepen. Connections built on habit, control, or convenience loosen. This is not betrayal, it is clarity. The horse must resist reacting emotionally. Observe instead, what leaves was never meant to carry you forward. What stays deserves appreciation. Now let us look at different horse birth years, because while the theme of reflection applies to all, the area of emphasis differs. For horses born in 1990, this reflection year tests maturity. You may feel pressure to prove growth or independence. Health awareness shows through exhaustion or inflammation when you push too hard. Wealth opportunities exist, but they reward patience more than speed. This year asks you to trust timing rather than force outcomes. For horses born in 1978, the year reflects responsibility and long-term choices. You may feel the weight of decisions made years ago. Health awareness appears through accumulated stress, muscle tension, or fatigue. Financially, this is a year of consolidation rather than expansion. Simplifying strengthens you. For horses born in 2002, the reflection year brings awakening rather than judgment. You may question direction, identity, or purpose more deeply. Health is generally stable, but emotional restlessness may affect sleep. Wealth grows through learning, skill, and experience rather than shortcuts. Patience is the lesson. For horses born in 1966 or earlier, this year emphasizes wisdom and conservation. Energy is precious. Health stabilizes when routine and rest are respected. Financially, preservation and clarity matter more than ambition. Old burdens are not meant to be carried forward. For all other horses, the pattern remains the same. The year reflects what has been cultivated. Where there has been generosity, reward appears. Where there has been avoidance, gentle correction arises. Nothing is random. The most important thing to remember is this: a reflection year is not a threat. It is a safeguard, a checkpoint, a loving correction before the next ascent. If you meet it with humility, patience, and honesty, it uplifts you. If you meet it with fear or resistance, it feels heavy. The year itself does not change. Your relationship with it does. Stay aware, care for your health without anxiety. Be thoughtful with money. Stay generous where generosity is genuine. Be patient where patience is needed. Nothing in this year is meant to harm you. And finally, remember that this guidance speaks at the sign level. True clarity comes when reflection aligns with your own birth elements and lived choices. Each horse carries a different history, and that history matters more than labels. If you want more precise guidance for navigating a reflection year with calm and stability, check the link in the description. We've prepared personalized tools aligned to individual birth elements designed to help interpret your 12-year cycle accurately and constructively. The horse moves through 2026 not by fighting the year, but by listening to what the year is gently showing and responding with awareness. For those born under the goat sign, 2026 is a year that becomes clear once you stop trying to push it. This is not a year that rewards force, urgency, or emotional pressure. It is a year that responds to clarity, self-respect, and quiet consistency. When you move gently but deliberately, life remains stable. When you overextend emotionally or try to carry what is not yours, the year feels heavy. The goat's greatest strength in 2026 is emotional intelligence. You read people and environments accurately. You sense undercurrents early. You often know when something is not right before it becomes obvious. This allows you to avoid many problems that others walk directly into. You are rarely surprised by chaos this year because you feel it coming. However, this same sensitivity is also your main challenge. You absorb too much. You take on emotional weight that does not belong to you. You feel responsible for harmony, for keeping peace, for making things work even when others are not meeting you halfway. In 2026, this pattern becomes draining if it continues unconsciously. This year is not testing your kindness, it is testing your boundaries. Relationships are where this shows most clearly. You give quietly, you support without announcement, you adjust without complaint. The problem is that when you do not speak up, people assume you are fine. They do not realize you are tired, stretched, or hurt until distance has already formed. This is not betrayal, it is miscommunication. In 2026, silence does not protect relationships. Calm clarity does. When something is too much, say it early and gently. When support is needed, express it plainly. When limits are crossed, address them without guilt. When you do this, relationships stabilize and even deepen. Wealth for the goat in 2026 is steady, not explosive. This is not a year of sudden windfalls or fast speculation. It is a year of consistency, reliability, and sustainability. Money comes through steady work, long-term projects, creativity, service, collaboration, and roles where care and reliability are valued. The main financial risk is not loss, it is undervaluing yourself. Giving time, effort, emotional labor, or money too easily creates quiet depletion. Preparation this year is simple but important. Value your contribution honestly. Do not lend unless you are prepared to release the outcome. Stability grows when self-respect is present. Health in 2026 is generally stable, but emotional depletion shows physically when ignored. Fatigue, digestive sensitivity, hormonal imbalance, muscle tension, and sleep irregularity are common signs of overabsorption. These are not signs of illness, they are signs that your energy has been dispersing for too long. Routine restores balance quickly. Regular meals, consistent sleep, time in nature, and reduced emotional noise protect you more than any extreme method. This is also the year where spiritual and material support should be chosen more intelligently. For the goat, 2026 is not about soft symbolism or purely devotional focus. Your challenge is not lack of merit, it is lack of containment. Your energy leaks easily through emotional giving, and wealth follows that same pattern. Because of this, earth-based amulets and dense materials work far better for you than light or decorative ones. Objects formed from grounded substances help anchor scattered energy and prevent slow financial leakage. These supports are not about attracting money suddenly. They are about helping money stay once it arrives. For goats who want to strengthen wealth more significantly in 2026, amulets associated with weight, density, and containment are especially supportive. Earth element talismans, mineral cores, compressed metals, or sealed forms traditionally used to lock energy rather than circulate it too quickly, align well with your needs this year. Even in older esoteric traditions, materials were chosen not for belief, but for function. Dense elements slow down loss. Soft elements amplify feeling. You already feel enough. What you need is weight. This is why historically stabilized and sealed materials, including symbolic representations of controlled volatility, such as solidified mercury forms when properly contained, have been associated with wealth retention rather than attraction, not because they create money, but because they represent mastery over fluctuation. For the goat, this symbolism is especially relevant in 2026. It teaches money to remain instead of slipping away through emotion or guilt. This does not mean chasing anything extreme or unsafe. It means choosing grounded, sealed, weight-bearing supports instead of purely symbolic ones. Crystals that work best for the goat this year follow the same logic. Jade supports long-term balance, health, and emotional composure. Smoky quartz absorbs emotional interference that disrupts financial decisions. Green aventurine supports steady growth without urgency or pressure. These stones do not spike luck, they normalize flow, which is exactly what you need. Color reinforces this alignment more than most people realize. For emotional balance and health, light green calms the nervous system and restores equilibrium. Cream and warm beige reduce emotional fatigue and overstimulation. For wealth and work decisions, deeper green, olive, soft brown, and muted mineral gold tones help you stay grounded and practical. Avoid sharp contrasts or overly bright metallic colors when dealing with finances, as they amplify emotional reactions rather than discernment. For goats born in 1991, confidence is the main issue. You may doubt your value even when you are capable. Grounding stones help stabilize self-trust, and soft green tones support confidence without pressure. For goats born in 1979, obligation weighs heavily. Energy and money tend to leak through caretaking. Dense earth materials and darker, grounded colors help reinforce boundaries. For goats born in 2003, emotional development and direction are still forming. Calming stones and softer tones reduce restlessness and help focus grow naturally. For goats born in 1967 or earlier, conservation matters most. Stability comes from simplicity, grounding materials, and neutral earth colors that preserve energy. Across all goat birth years, the message is consistent. Sensitivity is not the problem, dispersion is. When your energy stays where it belongs, everything stabilizes. Health settles, wealth holds, relationships soften instead of strain. 2026 is not asking the goat to become harder. It is asking the goat to become clearer and more contained. Give with awareness. Rest without guilt. Speak before resentment forms. Hold your value instead of leaking it away. And remember, this guidance speaks at the sign level. True balance deepens when support aligns with your own birth elements and emotional structure. If you want more precise tools aligned to your personal makeup for 2026, check the link in the description. We've prepared personalized supports designed to help goats move through the year calmly, steadily, and with far greater stability. The goat moves through 2026 not by pushing outward, but by learning how to hold what it already has. For those born under the monkey sign, 2026 is a year where your natural intelligence finally has room to operate without obstruction. This is a year that favors strategy, adaptability, speed of understanding, and mental agility. These are qualities you already possess in abundance. While other signs may feel slowed down, emotionally burdened, or uncertain, you are able to see options quickly, reframe problems, and adjust direction without panic. This alone gives you an advantage in 2026. It is important to state this clearly and without exaggeration. There is strong potential for significant wealth expansion for those born in the monkey year in 2026. For some, this growth may feel sudden. For others, it may arrive through a series of smart decisions that compound faster than expected. Opportunities may come from more than one direction at the same time. Income does not need to come from a single stream. Side ventures, parallel projects, consulting roles, digital platforms, trading of skills, negotiation-based work, or positions that reward problem solving are especially favorable for you. Your greatest strength is your ability to recognize opportunity where others see confusion or limitation. You understand systems intuitively. You notice inefficiencies. You see how to rearrange pieces to make something work better. You can turn information into value faster than most people. In 2026, this capacity can translate directly into money when it is applied with intention. However, this is where a deeper understanding is required. What you are hearing are potentials, not promises. Potential is like fertile land. Whether it produces abundance or weeds depends entirely on how it is cultivated. There are many people who become wealthy very quickly and lose everything just as fast. This does not happen because opportunity disappears. It happens because discipline, structure, and conscious choice were never developed to hold what arrived. 2026 can open doors for the monkey, but it will not walk you through them. It can present opportunity, but it will not organize your life for you. How you make decisions, how you pace yourself, how you manage money once it starts accumulating, and how prepared you have been over the years all determine your trajectory. Do not expect stability if you have not practiced stability. Do not expect wealth to remain if you have not trained yourself to contain it. This is why discipline becomes the true test for the monkey in 2026. Your biggest risk is not lack of ideas, it is too many ideas at the same time. When opportunities appear easily, you may feel tempted to chase several directions at once. This creates activity, movement, excitement, and stimulation, but not accumulation. You stay busy, yet money moves through your hands without staying long enough to compound. Intelligence without focus scatters results. Intelligence with structure multiplies them. If wealth is to truly expand in 2026, you must do something that does not come naturally to you. You must choose fewer directions and commit to them more deeply. You must allow something to grow instead of constantly replacing it with the next idea. Cleverness opens doors. Commitment builds foundations. Another important warning must be spoken plainly, because it is where many monkeys lose their momentum. When wealth begins to accumulate, you are especially vulnerable to pleasure spending. Enjoyment, entertainment, travel, lifestyle upgrades, social activities, impulsive purchases, and rewarding yourself too early can quietly drain growth. This often does not feel irresponsible because money still seems to be coming in. But this is exactly how expansion turns into stagnation. In 2026, enjoyment must be sequenced correctly. This is not a year to deny pleasure, it is a year to delay it. Build structure first, secure foundations first. Let wealth settle and stabilize before increasing lifestyle. When pleasure follows discipline, wealth compounds. When pleasure comes before structure, wealth slips away. Timing is everything for the monkey this year. You are naturally fast, and speed is often your advantage. But in 2026, waiting just a little longer before committing to decisions often improves outcomes dramatically. Let information finish revealing itself. Let people show their consistency. Let deals mature. Acting too quickly may cost you leverage you didn't realize you had. Relationships also influence wealth more than you might expect. You are persuasive, charming, mentally engaging, and interesting to work with. People enjoy your energy, but if collaborations are treated as interchangeable or disposable, trust weakens. In 2026, sustainable wealth is supported by reliable alliances, not just clever transactions. Choose partners who respect your intelligence, match your pace, and balance your impulsiveness. Health in 2026 is generally stable for the monkey, but mental overactivity is the area to watch. When the mind never rests, the body eventually responds. Sleep irregularity, nervous tension, jaw tightness, headaches, restlessness, or digestive imbalance are common signs of overstimulation. These are not serious issues, but they are signals. When the mind slows, the body recovers quickly. Emotionally, this is a lighter year for the monkey compared to many other signs. You are not burdened by heavy reflection cycles. However, boredom becomes a subtle danger. When understimulated, you may create unnecessary complications just to feel engaged. Be aware of this tendency. Stimulation should serve growth, not distraction. For those born in 1992, ambition is strong and opportunities appear quickly. Discipline determines whether this becomes sustainable success or scattered effort. For those born in 1980, experience is your greatest asset. You see patterns others miss. Wealth grows through strategy, advising, mentoring, and systems thinking rather than raw execution. For those born in 2004, learning and skill development directly shape future income. Focus on foundations and mastery rather than shortcuts. For those born in 1968 or earlier, simplification increases profit. Fewer commitments, clearer structures, and better delegation protect both wealth and health. Across all monkey birth years, the message remains the same. 2026 does not block you. It tests how well you can hold what comes to you. Prepare for this year by narrowing focus instead of expanding endlessly. Build systems instead of improvising everything. Allow money to settle instead of constantly moving it. Delay pleasure until stability is secure. Give the mind rest so insight remains sharp and reliable. Opportunity may knock loudly in 2026. Whether it stays depends on who you have become. Do not expect rewards if you are not prepared to manage them. Do not expect wealth to last if discipline has not been cultivated. And remember, this guidance speaks at the sign level. True advantage appears when strategy aligns with your own birth elements, habits, and long-term preparation. If you want more precise tools for 2026, especially around wealth, discipline, focus, and containment, check the link in the description. We've prepared personalized supports aligned to individual birth elements to help monkeys turn fast opportunity into lasting wealth. The monkey moves through 2026 not by chasing every possibility, but by being ready for the one that can truly change everything. For you born under the Rooster sign, 2026 unfolds as a year of heroic transformation and refined fire. Where in the past you may have felt protected, guided, or quietly supported, this year asks you to step fully into visibility. Life does not whisper anymore. It speaks clearly, sometimes loudly, and it expects a response. The pressure you feel is not random. It is the kind of pressure that only appears when someone is ready to be tested for strength rather than sheltered for safety. You may notice that situations feel more intense than before. Expectations rise, standards tighten. People respond more strongly to your words and actions. This is not because the world has become harsher. It is because you are no longer treated as someone who is still learning quietly. You are treated as someone whose presence carries weight. This is the year where the rooster moves from being shaped to becoming a shaping force. If the years before felt like collaboration, accumulation, and preparation, then 2026 is where everything is placed into real conditions. The fire you meet this year is not meant to burn you away. It is meant to reveal what is solid, what is refined, and what no longer belongs. When you meet pressure with humility and steadiness, you rise. When you meet it with pride or resistance, exhaustion follows. The fire itself does not change, only your relationship to it does. In matters of wealth, this is not a year of casual fortune. Money responds directly to responsibility, discipline, and the ability to perform under pressure. There are real opportunities for growth, but they demand maturity. Wealth comes through effort, leadership, structure, and reliability. If you are willing to take on heavier responsibility, your financial position strengthens. If you look for shortcuts, speculation, or easy wins, losses are more likely. This year also teaches you something important about money. It is not only about how much comes in, but how it is managed when it does. The rooster often feels an urge to maintain standards, appearances, or obligations. In 2026, overspending to keep up image, reputation, or social expectation can quietly drain stability. This is a year where financial self-respect matters more than financial display. Spend with intention. Invest in what builds long-term strength. Avoid emotional purchases that serve pride rather than purpose. Relationships in 2026 are equally refined. You naturally hold high standards, and this year those standards become more pronounced. You may find yourself less tolerant of inefficiency, inconsistency, or lack of integrity in others. While discernment is a strength, sharpness without softness creates unnecessary friction. Many conflicts this year are not caused by deep betrayal or major issues, but by tone, timing, and delivery. Learning when to pause, when to soften your language, and when to let something pass becomes a powerful form of mastery. For roosters born in 2017, the year brings a noticeable increase in stimulation and challenge. School life becomes lively, competitive, and emotionally charged. Children may want recognition and fairness while still needing to follow rules. This energy can ignite confidence and teamwork when guided properly, but without guidance it can turn into arguments, jealousy, or emotional outbursts. Comparison with peers becomes stronger, especially around possessions, toys, or stationery. Parents should gently guide spending habits and discourage impulsive comparison. Energy levels are high, increasing the chance of minor injuries, burns, or accidents during play. Extra care is needed around heat, sharp objects, and rough activity. Attention to respiratory health and skin sensitivity is also helpful. For those born in 2005, this is a crossroads year. Creativity, individuality, and talent are strongly activated, while pressure from authority and systems increases at the same time. You may feel torn between wanting to express yourself freely and needing to operate within rules set by school, work, or family. When managed wisely, this year becomes a breakthrough where your abilities stand out. When managed poorly, it becomes a year of conflict with authority, impulsive decisions, and financial loss through pleasure spending. Income can come through talent and side work, but it leaves just as easily if discipline is missing. Relationships may feel intense or unstable, and emotional regulation becomes essential. Stress can affect sleep, breathing, and skin, signaling the need for balance rather than rebellion. For those born in 1993, 2026 brings opportunity mixed with instability. You may seek stability in career, finances, or relationships, yet conditions keep shifting. Work pressure is high, income requires sustained effort, and expenses increase, often tied to family or responsibility. This is not a year for risk-taking or gambling. For men, it can be a decisive year for career and partnership, but the burden is heavy. For women, relationships may feel strained by practical and financial realities. Stress reflects directly in the body, especially digestion, circulation, and fatigue. Steady pacing protects both health and progress. For those born in 1981, 2026 becomes a defining chapter. This year does not appear in isolation. It responds directly to the years before it. Those you supported quietly, helped during difficult moments, or stood by when there was nothing immediate to gain are not forgotten. In 2026, many of these people return at exactly the moment you need support most. This support often comes in practical forms such as financial backing, business opportunities, protection within complex environments, or introductions that open important doors. Your financial stability this year is often relational rather than speculative. The people who help you now are often the same ones you once helped without calculation. Income and opportunity rise alongside responsibility, leadership, and visibility. Promotions, authority, and major collaborations are possible, especially with large organizations. Expenses also rise, but the difference this year is that you are not carrying everything alone. Support appears when pressure peaks. What returns to you now is not luck. It is past integrity coming back into form. Health still requires careful attention, especially stress, blood pressure, heart strain, and chronic tension. But shared responsibility lightens the load. For those born in 1969, the year creates tension between wanting peace and being drawn back into responsibility. You may be asked to mediate, advise, or stabilize situations at work, within family, or in the community. This can elevate respect, but it can also drain energy if boundaries are weak. Financially, help from others exists, but relying too heavily on external support or remaining overly conservative can limit flexibility. Be cautious of schemes presented as care or concern. Health benefits from calm routines and stress reduction, especially for circulation and digestion. For those born in 1957, social life becomes active but carries risk. Group activities and friendships bring stimulation and connection, but also the possibility of financial loss through misplaced trust. Lending money, Following friends into investments or purchasing unnecessary products can lead to regret. Savings should be guarded carefully and major decisions discussed with family. Relationships benefit from balance between social life and home life. Physically, activity is beneficial, but overexertion and accidents during outings or travel are possible if limits are ignored. For those born in 1945, mental activity increases. You may feel more expressive, opinionated, and eager to share life experience. This can make you a respected elder, or it can create tension if communication becomes overly critical. Financially, spending on comfort and quality of life increases, but so does vulnerability to persuasive sales tactics. Health becomes the primary focus. Emotional agitation, cardiovascular sensitivity, sleep disruption, and nervous fatigue require close attention. Stability, routine, and calm companionship matter far more than stimulation or change. Across all Rooster birth years, the message of 2026 remains consistent. This is not a year meant to break you. It is a year meant to forge you. Pressure reveals character. Responsibility reveals maturity. Fire reveals what is real. If you meet this year with discipline, humility, and patience, 2026 becomes a turning point where your value is proven rather than questioned. If you resist structure or chase shortcuts, the same year feels heavy. This is not punishment, it is refinement. And remember, this guidance speaks at the sign level. How the year unfolds depends on how prepared you are, how consciously you choose, and how you respond when pressure appears. If you want more precise support for navigating 2026, especially around pressure management, wealth stability, and health balance, you can explore the personalized tools linked in the description. These are aligned to individual birth elements and designed to support clarity and resilience through this transformative year. The Rooster in 2026 is not meant to remain sheltered. It is meant to rise through fire, refined, steady, and stronger than before. For those born under the dog sign, 2026 opens as one of the most supportive and opportunity-rich years you have experienced in a long time, especially when it comes to wealth and long-term stability. The overall direction of this year is constructive. Life does not push you into survival mode. Instead, it places you in positions where growth becomes possible if you are willing to step forward and engage. This is a year where opportunities do not arrive loudly or aggressively. They appear through people, conversations, recommendations, and trust. This suits you naturally because dogs are patient, loyal, and dependable. You are often the one others rely on in difficult moments. You keep promises, you show up, you carry responsibility quietly. In 2026, this reputation begins to return to you in very tangible ways. Wealth potential this year is genuinely strong, and it needs to be said clearly. There is potential for sudden or accelerated financial growth, not because of luck alone, but because doors open through networks and supporters. People trust you with resources, introductions, and backing. If you have been building credibility over the years, this is when it starts converting into real opportunity. Wealth comes less from speculation and more from people who believe in you. However, there is an important condition that cannot be ignored. For wealth to expand smoothly, unresolved emotional pressure must be dealt with. Dogs tend to absorb too much. You listen to others' problems, you carry stress for family, friends, colleagues, and sometimes entire teams. You rarely complain, and you often tell yourself that you can handle it. In 2026, this habit becomes a bottleneck, not because you are weak, but because growth requires emotional space. If pressure is not released, opportunities feel heavier than they need to be, and decisions become clouded. This year strongly encourages you to talk things out, speak honestly, share what you are carrying, Release what does not belong to you. Emotional clarity directly affects financial clarity in 2026. When the heart lightens, judgment sharpens. When pressure is released, momentum increases. Socializing is extremely important this year. Many opportunities come through people rather than systems. Attend gatherings, accept invitations. Reconnect with old contacts. Let people hear what you are building. At the same time, discernment is essential. Not everyone who approaches you deserves access to your time, energy, or trust. Listen carefully. Observe consistency. Let actions speak louder than promises. This is a year to accumulate wealth, not just to earn it. Do not be afraid to try new things, learn new skills. Step into areas you have never explored before. Dogs sometimes stay loyal to familiar paths for too long, even when growth is calling elsewhere. In 2026, expansion happens when you allow yourself to evolve. Fields related to education, teaching, coaching, consulting, digital platforms, online services, content creation, or digital marketing are especially favorable. If you have a big project or a long-term plan, this is a good year to present it. Investors or supporters may appear, especially if your plan is structured and realistic. Dogs are seen as trustworthy and reliable, and this reputation works strongly in your favor when asking for backing. Support tends to arrive when preparation is visible. A clear plan attracts help. There are also areas where caution is needed. Businesses related to food, restaurants, or hospitality are not ideal to start fresh this year if you are expecting quick returns. These areas demand heavy emotional and operational energy, and profits tend to be slower. Real estate also requires care. Property investments may suit long-term holding, but quick gains are unlikely if initiated in 2026. Avoid rushing into deals based on optimism alone. Health in 2026 is generally stable, but emotional overload can manifest physically if ignored. Shoulder and neck tension, digestive discomfort, fatigue, and disturbed sleep often reflect unspoken pressure rather than illness. When you release emotional weight, the body responds quickly. Gentle movement, grounding routines, and honest conversation do more for your health than forcing yourself to endure silently. In relationships and family matters, 2026 asks the dog to rebalance loyalty with self-respect. You are naturally devoted to family, partners, and close friends. You protect, you support, and you endure. Over time, this creates deep trust, but it can also create silent emotional debt. You may have been carrying unspoken frustrations or responsibilities that were never truly yours. This year brings those patterns to the surface, not to cause conflict, but to encourage honesty. If things remain unspoken, distance forms quietly. If they are expressed calmly and early, bonds strengthen. Holding everything inside no longer protects harmony, it slowly erodes it. Talking things out becomes a form of protection, not confrontation. Family dynamics may require extra patience. Some family members may lean on you emotionally or financially more than before. Support where it is healthy, but do not become the pillar for everyone. When dogs carry too much for too long, resentment builds silently. Releasing pressure does not mean abandoning responsibility, it means sharing it. It is also important to speak directly about attraction. Dogs are naturally attractive individuals, not always because of appearance, but because of character. Your sincerity, reliability, and calm strength draw people in. In 2026, this magnetism increases, especially as your confidence and visibility grow. This creates a serious warning. Be very careful of love triangles, emotional entanglements, or situations where boundaries are unclear. This is one of the greatest traps for dogs this year. What begins as emotional support, sympathy, or harmless closeness can quietly turn into a situation that destabilizes relationships, reputation, and even wealth. If mishandled, this can become the single factor that causes the greatest downfall in an otherwise prosperous year. Clarity and boundaries are essential. Do not assume good intentions alone will protect you. If something feels ambiguous, address it early. Do not place yourself in positions that require secrecy, emotional substitution, or divided loyalty. Integrity in relationships directly protects your fortune in 2026. For those in committed relationships, this year can deepen trust if communication is open and boundaries are respected. It is a good year to realign goals, especially around finances and long-term plans. For those who are single, connections may arise through work or trusted introductions. Take time to observe character. Avoid stepping too quickly into caretaker roles. Emotional equality matters more than chemistry this year. Spiritually, guidance and protection support your success strongly. Keeping a Lursi amulet supports wisdom, clarity, and inner balance, helping you navigate complex choices without confusion. A wealth takrut further strengthens your ability to receive support, retain income, and stabilize growth. These supports work best when paired with conscious action rather than blind reliance. Crystals that support you this year include tiger's eye for confidence and grounded decision-making, citrine for healthy wealth flow without recklessness, and smoky quartz to release absorbed stress from dealing with many people. Across all dog birth years, the message is consistent. 2026 is not a year to hide or simply endure. It is a year to step forward, engage, and build. Wealth opportunities are real. Support is available. Growth is possible. But emotional clarity and relational integrity are what protect it. Release what you have been carrying for others. Speak when you need to. Try new paths with courage. Be open but discerning. Loyal but not self-sacrificing. And remember, this guidance speaks at the sign level. How powerful this year becomes depends on how you nourish it. If you want more precise support aligned to your personal birth elements and timing for 2026, you can explore the personalized tools linked in the description. These are designed to help stabilize emotion, sharpen decisions, and support wealth accumulation in a way that fits who you are. For the dog, 2026 is not about proving loyalty anymore. It is about being rewarded for it without losing yourself along the way. For those born under the pig sign, 2026 is a year that carries genuine promise, comfort, and opportunity, but only for those who are willing to become more conscious of how they live, how they relate, and how they manage desire. This is not a difficult year by nature. In fact, it can be one of the more rewarding cycles you experience. But it is a year that asks for maturity to match abundance and effort to match expectation. Pigs are naturally warm, open-hearted, and sincere. You give easily, you forgive quickly. You enjoy life deeply and often seek comfort, beauty, and a sense of luxury. You like life to feel good, smooth, and supportive. There is nothing wrong with this. However, it must be spoken honestly that many pigs desire a higher quality life without always wanting to sustain the long-term effort required to build it. You may hope for help, expect understanding, or wait for support to appear rather than pushing yourself consistently. In 2026, this pattern becomes very important. This year responds less to wishing and more to showing up. While pigs are often supported by others, and while help does appear through relationships, expecting support without preparation weakens momentum. Wanting comfort without matching it with discipline creates frustration. The year rewards effort that is steady, even if it is not dramatic. Wealth flows when desire is matched by responsibility. There is real potential for wealth growth in 2026, but it comes quietly, not explosively. Money appears through alignment, timing, and people rather than intense competition. Many pigs see improvement through coordination roles, management, hospitality, wellness, education, creative work, or environments where people feel cared for and safe. You do well when others trust you, and trust is your greatest currency this year. However, this is not a year where money stays simply because it arrives. The greatest financial risk is leakage through comfort. Spending increases slowly. Enjoyment expands naturally. Small indulgences feel harmless. Over time, this erodes stability. This is why containment becomes the central lesson of 2026. Enjoyment is allowed, luxury is allowed, but indulgence without structure drains resources invisibly. Decide consciously where money goes. Do not let comfort decide for you. When discipline supports enjoyment, wealth stabilizes and grows. When enjoyment leads and discipline follows, wealth slips away. Another subtle challenge for pigs is motivation. When things feel comfortable, effort drops. When effort drops, opportunity fades. In 2026, you are asked to maintain momentum even when life feels pleasant. Consistency matters more than intensity. Small daily effort outperforms occasional bursts of enthusiasm. Health in 2026 is generally stable, but lifestyle choices matter greatly. Pigs tend to enjoy food, rest, and pleasure, and this reflects most clearly in digestion, metabolism, weight balance, and circulation. This is not about restriction or punishment. It is about rhythm. When meals, sleep, and movement are consistent, energy stays high. When indulgence replaces structure, fatigue and sluggishness follow. Emotionally, pigs often carry more than they admit. You absorb moods, expectations, and emotional undercurrents from your environment. In 2026, unspoken emotional fatigue may surface as low motivation, irritability, or withdrawal. This is not laziness. It is a signal to reset habits, simplify your environment, and reclaim energy. Relationships require careful awareness this year. Pigs are affectionate, engaging, and easy to be around. However, you are also drawn to novelty, comfort, and emotional ease. This can sometimes lead to drifting attention, blurred boundaries, or inconsistency. Loyalty is not absent, but it can weaken when boredom or temptation appears quietly. This applies not only to romantic relationships, but also to friendships and partnerships. In 2026, be mindful of divided attention and emotional convenience. What feels harmless in the moment can slowly erode trust. Avoid promising more than you can sustain. Avoid relying on charm to maintain bonds. Consistency protects relationships far more than warmth alone. For those in committed relationships, this year supports shared comfort and enjoyment, but only if honesty is present. Difficult conversations about money, effort, and expectations should not be avoided just to keep peace. Peace built on silence eventually collapses. Speak gently, but speak clearly. For those who are single, attraction is strong, but depth requires patience. Do not rush commitment simply because something feels comfortable or luxurious. Let time reveal consistency. Emotional stability matters more than excitement this year. Now let us look at different pig birth years, because the emphasis shifts with age and responsibility. For those born in 2007, this is a critical habit-forming year. Desire for enjoyment increases, but discipline is still developing. If you want a brighter future, this is the time to consciously change habits related to study, screen time, food, sleep, and effort. What feels small now becomes significant later. Fluorite supports focus and clarity, helping the mind stay future-oriented rather than scattered. For those born in 1995, career and wealth opportunities become more visible. Income improves, but so does spending temptation. This year teaches financial self-control. Relationships may test boundaries if effort feels uneven. Jade supports balance and long-term thinking. For those born in 1983, The central lesson is comfort versus growth. Wanting ease without structure slows progress. Wealth grows through consistency, systems, and responsibility, not indulgence. Citrine supports disciplined optimism and steady expansion. For those born in 1971, family and responsibility increase. You are capable of managing this well, but only if emotional pressure is shared. Suppressing stress drains energy. Tiger's Eye supports grounded decisions and emotional strength. For those born in 1959, enjoyment must be balanced with awareness. Social life can be pleasant, but financial generosity should not compromise security. Gentle routines and moderation support health. For those born in 1947, stability and simplicity matter most. Protect assets, preserve energy, and prioritize peace. Emotional calm becomes more valuable than involvement in others' affairs. Spiritually, the pig in 2026 benefits strongly from Prakunpan. This energy is firm, protective, and decisive. It strengthens boundaries and inner authority. Prakunpan helps you stop expecting rescue and start standing fully in your own strength. It protects you from exploitation and supports the discipline needed to hold wealth and relationships together. Across all pig birth years, the message remains consistent. Comfort and prosperity are possible, but only when paired with effort, awareness, and responsibility. Wanting more is natural. Receiving more requires preparation. Give, but do not overgive. Enjoy, but do not drift. Desire, but also act. And remember, this guidance speaks at the sign level. How smoothly 2026 unfolds depends on how you nourish it. If you want more precise support aligned to your personal birth elements and rhythm, you can explore the personalized tools linked in the description. These are designed to support protection, clarity, and conscious prosperity. For the pig, 2026 is not about wishing for abundance. It is about becoming someone who can hold it, sustain it, and respect it.